Hey guys, I'm Travis Hartman with Weighing In with Travis Hartman. I wanted to touch on a subject today that a lot of people are Monday morning quarterbacking, and that's the Simone Biles incident that happened at the Tokyo Olympics in gymnastics. I don't think I really have to explain what happened because most people already know by now, but Simone Biles pulled out citing a mental injury, not a physical injury, after I think she did vaults, and she didn't land like she should have. So she pulled out and let somebody else step in. So I'm going to break it down, step by step. But I want to say first off that I do not think that she should be celebrated and talked about as being courageous. And before you shut me off, I hope that you listen as to my reasonings. So first and foremost, Simone Biles had to do what was best for her. In that moment, she chose not to compete. Okay, that was what's best for her. Although this is a team sport, it kind of let her team down. You have to look at it like this. Simone Biles, without a single doubt in people's mind, is regarded as probably one of the greatest gymnasts of all time, especially current. She's definitely the current, arguably the current best right now that's out there competing. So if you're her teammates and you look to Simone for a lot of your support and a lot of your motivation even, and you see her pull out, citing a mental injury that she wasn't, forgive my words, but she wasn't strong enough to get through whatever she was dealing with. Those people were put on the spot. So in my opinion, the courageous ones are those other women that pulled it together at the last moment, because I believe one of the girls that had to step in and do the uneven bars, she had, not much time at all to know the routine, jump in and do what she's supposed to do, because she wasn't originally slated to do that. So the fact that Simone pulled out, somebody else had to step in. And I think it's super courageous that those girls pulled together and were able to get a silver medal. Even though those girls are supporting Simone, I love it. I mean, teams are supposed to support their teammates, no matter what, through thick and thin. That's all good and everything. My whole problem is, I don't think we should be celebrating Simone for being courageous, because it wasn't courageous, guys. It wasn't. You know what was courageous? Those other teammates pulling it together and going out there and competing. Do you know what kind of mental anguish was put on them and emotional? The fact that their top dog in Simone pulls out and now they have to pick up that slack. So that was mentally hard for them as well. So I think that what they did was courageous. I think that what they did was brave. And I think what Simone did was best for herself. She was doing what was best for herself, so, good for her. But also, for every single decision you make in life, there's going to be consequences and repercussions. So she made the best decision for herself in that moment, to where she said she cannot compete anymore because she's not mentally there. So I want to give you another example, because I think that we're being extra lenient on somebody like Simone Biles right now. And that somebody, what I mean by that is, she's a female athlete at the elite level. So if this were, let's say this was Tom Brady, and Tom Brady was in the fourth quarter, they were down, 6 points, and it's third down, he's driving, it's third and long, he's driving at the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady pulls out and says, "I can't do this, guys, it's really hard." Do you think that the media or any of us is going to look at Tom Brady and say he was courageous for pulling out? We're going to call him a quitter. We're going to say that he choked. Same thing with LeBron James. LeBron James in the fourth quarter, let's say he pulls out and says he's not physically injured, he's mentally strained, and he can't finish the game. I think a lot of people, and I know a lot of people in the media, are going to look at him and be like, LeBron James choked, like one of the greatest athletes of his era choked. We look at Tom Brady as one of the greatest athletes of his era. We would say he choked. So Simone, I don't think, should get a free pass on this. I do not think that we should be making this about her at all. I think that, again, we're celebrating the wrong things. I think we're saying the wrong message to a lot of kids, whether we like it or not. I've been a professional athlete for over 16 years, USA boxing amateur for 14 years. So, I've been in those stressful moments as well. Nothing like the Olympics, but the Olympics for boxers is amateur. So professional level is even a step up from the Olympics for us boxers. So I've been in a lot of tough moments. I fought a guy named Terrence Crawford, pound for pound great by all measures. The guy's up there, at least in the top 3 on everybody's pound for pound list. And I fought Terrence Crawford on 5 days' notice. Do you think when I was fighting him, if halfway through that fight I would have said, oh my gosh, things are really hard. I can't compete because I'm afraid of getting hurt. We're boxers. We go through a lot of mental stuff as well. But if I would have quit in that match, I would have lost. I would have been considered a quitter. I would have been considered a choker. And those moments do arise, but why are we giving Simone a free pass on this, and why are we celebrating the wrong things? I think we're talking about the wrong things right now. It's very sad to me that some of these girls that were on that team had to sit in interviews and their first couple of questions was about Simone instead of, wow, it was pretty phenomenal how you rallied after losing your leader or your easily the greatest gymnast of this era. Like, wow, how did you guys do that? What were you guys going through mentally? Instead, we've come across this culture that says mental health is a reason to quit. Mental health is serious. Mental health illnesses are very real and very serious. Every athlete deals with it. That's the thing. So, in my opinion, if you want to be great or good, this is what separates people right here. Moments like that. I just believe that I think Simone almost slighted herself even because did she have a couple off moments in her mind where she was just like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can do this. But I think that if she would have powered through this, that there's a good possibility that she would have given them the best shot for a gold medal. But we'll never know because she bowed out. And instead of her teammates, whining and crying about it, they stepped up to the plate and did their absolute best, and they got a silver medal. And then today, I forget her name, but she got a gold medal in the all-around. So, look at these girls like battling through it. And again, I don't think we have to bash Simone Biles. I don't believe we have to bash her. I just have a problem with celebrating her actions. I don't. Like, good for you for doing that, but also you need to know the repercussions when you bow out for reasons like you did. Of course it's mentally tough. You're in the Olympics. Every sport at that level, you're at the elite level of gymnastics, it's gonna be hard. So we all expect that going in. So did every other athlete that was out there, the Russians, the same way the Russians got the gold medal. They're dealing with similar things. So there's no good reasoning, I think, that we should bash Simone. I think she made a decision for herself, for her own mental health. Good for her. She made that decision. But now, we need to be celebrating those that chose to fight on, chose to battle through that mental anguish. And in my opinion, we're celebrating the wrong stuff right now, and we're bashing the wrong things. I think we need to be celebrating the courageous effort that these other USA gymnasts, Olympians, decided to battle through. Instead, we're talking about Simone Biles, and I'm just as guilty right now making this video that I'm talking about Simone. However, I'll end this with, I think we should be celebrating these other women who battled together and pulled it together as a team to win the silver medal. And that's just all there is to it. They battled together as a team. They're courageous. They showed such courage and such grit that their best player went out and they had to step up. And instead of folding up, they didn't. They battled through that, because what people don't realize is what kind of mental anguish and mental toughness did Simone put on them with her bowing out? A lot. And nobody talks about that right now. And I feel like I had to address this, and I had to do a video, and I had to weigh in on this because, the podcast is called Weighing In with Travis Hartman, and what better topic to weigh in on than mental toughness and mental grit. And I think that's what these other women showed for the United States Olympic team, and I think they should be celebrated more than the person who, by all stretches of the term, if this happened in any other sport, they would consider something like this choking. So I don't like the word, I don't, but she quit. So I don't see how that we can label it as anything else but that. So I hope going forward we can choose to celebrate the right things. Let's celebrate people who are mentally tough. Let's celebrate people who can rise to the occasion. That's what we consider an athlete when they're the greatest of all time, is when they rise to the occasion when the normal person would bow out. So these other girls, they did a great thing, because when things got tough, they rose above it. That's what separates the average person from a professional or an elite athlete, is when times get tough, there's two things you do. It's called fight or flight. Some of these girls fought, one of these girls flight. That's just the way it is. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. We have another episode coming up this weekend. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope that you guys don't bash me too much, because I've been in the sport as well, and I've been in many moments to where, I definitely chose the easy way out, but it is what it is, and I was called out for that. So I hope people can know where I'm coming from. And again, I don't think you should bash Simone. I just don't think you should celebrate her.